Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I'm excited right now.
Me too.
I'm super stoked. So let's jump in. The way that I typically do it is I won't have the person I'm interviewing actually say their name first or what they do. Okay. It's usually the question being, who are you? Without a title, without your name, without a role, just like, who do you feel underneath everything else that you really are? So there you go. Who are you?
Ooh, good question. We're going just like pop right into it. I love it. Who are you? Well, the first thing that came up was nothing.
Nice.
That's really what came up, was like nothing. I think something about me that I really like is my ability to fluidly adjust with identities and whoever I want to be. And I think that's important with being able to continue to feel good, because we evolve as humans. And for me, being able to fluidly keep up with my evolution in who I want to be is something I think that keeps me happy.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with following up from that, what do you actually do, and like your titles, just to let people that may not know you know?
Yeah. I do what inspires me on a daily basis. That's how I like to choose how I want to live and what I want to do. As far as my work, which is what I'm assuming you're talking about when you say do.
Whatever comes to you.
Yeah. So my work right now that I do, on top of being a part-time underwear model, is I love this. Graham is Autumn's boyfriend, great friend of mine, mentioned, he said, being a cornerman for people. And that really resonated with me. I actually changed my Instagram already to that. Right? Talk about just do whatever you want. Yeah, it was last night. Like, I just literally just evolved with
when I heard that, I was like, corner man. It's like, I'm your corner woman now, such and such.
Yeah, it's great. Like, I'm your corner woman. Like, I'm not your coach. I'm the one that's in the corner that you go out and live, and you go out and make things happen and do big things. Then you come back and we reassess and we do whatever we have to do to get a desired result. Let's work through some of those deeper things back in the corner. Then you go out and you go do your thing again. And I think it's what people do with me. Is I'm their corner man, and they come to me and we work through whatever they got to work through to be able to get more of what they want.
Yeah, you've been my corner man.
Yes.
How was that experience?
Why don't you tell me what the experience was like?
That experience was it came at the right time, and it taught me how stubborn I was and resistant, but having someone who was like, you're freaking doing this because I know you can, really like shifted me in gear. And there was one pivotal call where you're like, hey, you're not as excited as everybody else I'm coaching. Can you actually do this? And I was like, oh my God, like, yes, I can. Yes. And then from there, I was actually able to receive you and learn from you, and it changed my life. And even now I still reference like that point, like just that coaching experience in general, because it just taught me so much. And some of the things that you taught me and showed me through myself, I didn't even understand until recently. So it's interesting how, as we keep going on, like, we'll become like aware of those things, even if they're premature. Like, you'll still be aware of it. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Keyen, you mentioned identities, and something I really love about you is you're not a typical coach. You like are an underwear model, and there's a podcast that you said you were a stripper at one point.
Yeah. I've said that on a few podcasts.
Okay. What? How was that not against like just this perfect coach identity? Like, what actually drives you to evolve?
Yeah, my excitement. I think that's always been so. I don't have a story of leaving a 9-to-5 and then deciding to live my life that way I want to live. Like, for me, I heard somebody reference this one time. They said a rock top, and instead of having a rock bottom, I think that I had a rock top. And when I was able to get all the way to the NFL, that was my lifelong dream, right? That was what I said I was going to do from the moment I was 10 years old. said I was going to get there, and I finally did. And the really odd thing that happened when I was there was I was watching practice, and I remember thinking, I was like, once all the like the fad and the excitement came down, I was like, this is it. Like this is what it feels like to accomplish my lifelong dream. Like, all that time, energy for this feeling. And then I went and had my MRI that told me I'd never be able to play again, literally an hour after that moment. But that was such an important part for me in understanding that nothing that I do as far as the accomplishment goes will bring me the fulfillment that I want. So what will? And I read a book called The Biology of Belief, which I talk about frequently, and that really led me to living this heaven on earth that I wanted to live and creating that for myself. And so part of creating that was being able to shatter an old identity that I had of who I thought that I was. So I'm from South Dakota, middle of the Midwest, good old boys. Like you just put your head down, you work hard, you don't talk about your accomplishments. And I had to shatter that. I had to shatter that if I wanted to step into becoming the person that I really wanted to become separate from my identities. Yeah. And so when I moved to Miami, which is the complete opposite of South Dakota in every way, right? It's the Latin flair.
I literally had to Google earlier. You and Graham were talking. I was like, where is South Dakota?
I hear that so often. Yeah. It's funny because when I was living in Brazil, people are like, oh, I don't know where that is. I'm like, most of the people in the U.S. don't know where that is either, so don't worry about it. Yeah. But yeah, so moving to Miami, it was a completely different culture. And for me, like a lot of people ask me like, oh, it must have been a big culture shock for you. And I'm like, no, it was just exciting. Like, I'm like, wow, all these new things and ways of being and operating. I'm like, ooh, this looks fun. It's something different.
How has that like shift of being who, just allowing yourself to be instead of limiting yourself, how has that impacted like your family? Because people, they're so used to us being, you know, goody two shoes, you're a good guy, South Dakota, get married this age, have kids this age, like all the things. Yeah. How did they adjust to you changing and, you know, like evolving?
Well, first I want to finish how I got to the stripper point because I was getting really close.
Yeah.
And then we can go into that. I'd love to. That's a great topic. But when I got to Miami, it was like, yeah, how can I do as many fun things that are separate from the identity that I held while I was living in South Dakota. And my good friend and I, we were at a point where we also weren't able to work yet. I went down there for a job at a gym that the gym didn't open for another 2 months after we thought it would. So we're like, well, what are we going to do? And so I went and decided to be a stripper for that period of time. You know, it was really fun. Made a little cash, you know, I did the whole Magic Mike thing, come home afterward, my backpack's full of dollar bills, and I got the big white table in the living room and dumped the dollar bills out. Like, it was fun for 2 months. Then after that, it was it. But really the premise behind it was pushing myself to do something that was exciting and outside of who I believed that I was. And also needed a little bit of cash too, so that helped during that time period. Yeah. But back to the question about my family, it was tough. It was tough for me. I know there are some deep-rooted beliefs that my family has and had much more, I think, at that time when I was really shattering the belief of I needed to be a Christian to be able to be okay. And I'm obviously, like, being a stripper, that kind of goes against that a little bit. So I rebelled against that a little bit and a lot of it. And it was tough. In a time when I was shattering an identity, which I sound really nonchalant with it, but I was out, put myself on an island, an entrepreneur in a brand new space, not knowing who I was, but by trying and doing a bunch of different things to try to discover who I was separate from my old identity. It was hard, and I got support, but I was also met with a little bit of resistance because I was shattering that identity of being a Christian and being able to move past the guilt that comes with it and the shame that comes with it by doing things that are I'm told that are so wrong and bad. And I did receive some prejudice from my family because it was always, well, making sure Jesus is the center of everything, making sure he's the center of everything, and I just didn't believe that. And I didn't receive as much support as I would have liked to in the beginning of my entrepreneur journey of leaving, because I didn't hold that belief anymore. And I believe it made me a much stronger person through that. But it was tough. because we didn't have that fundamental belief anymore that we held that was the same. And so there was some of that rigidness that was there that I felt.
Yeah.
So and as time's gone on, you know, the support is there. I think they're kind of just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, not in a bad way, but like in an explorative way, like excited way. And as time's gone on, and as I've stayed true with living this more wild, outlandish life, they've come to know me as that. And so now, because their understanding of me has shifted, now they're open more to hearing what I have to say. And I think it's normal. I can't blame my family for that, right? Like when anybody shatters who they were inside of a tribe, it's like, no, we got to hold on to who you were, hold on, and do what we can to hold on. Yeah. And so I can't blame them. It's human nature. But as time's gone on, I've been consistent in this inconsistency of my identity of just continually evolving and flowing with what feels exciting to me. They've become much more open to it. And now it's like, it's cool to see they're even opening up and expanding within themselves. And now the receptivity to all of it is exciting for them. It's like me being the pioneer in going out and living the way I want to, after a certain period of time and consistency in that, it started to rub off on them, which is really exciting to see from me. Yeah. My dad getting to the point where he's removing himself from his company, and my mom doing what she is with her coaching. She's doing coaching now too. God. Yeah, my mom crushes it. Oh my gosh, yeah, amazing. And they want to get to a point where they're just like traveling and have a business where they can just travel anywhere. And so it's really cool to see them be inspired by me and what I'm doing. But it took a while of sitting in the tension of me shattering my identity and them learning to be okay with that.
Yeah. Where did the conviction come that this was like the right path for you? I just know. I think I'm connected.
I don't know what that voice is. I consider myself very like earth-centered, grounded. I know if you like zodiac signs, I'm a Capricorn, so I guess that maybe like plays into it of some sense, right? Yeah. So I don't know what that voice is. I don't know, but the more I listen to it, the stronger it gets. And I believe that voice got really strong when I got to the NFL, of me saying, whoa, like if I set my mind to something, I can do it. So my parents also did an incredible job at creating that environment where they really encouraged me to just do whatever I wanted to do, and they supported me through it. Even when they didn't have the funds, they supported me, and that's like, I would say, a big part. But really, regardless of how I got to the connection of the voice, I'm just really connected to the voice, and the more that I follow suit with that voice inside of me, the stronger it gets and the easier it gets to pursue. So really through consistency of following it and committing to it and seeing externally the positive repercussion of me following it, it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Yeah. But I don't really know exactly. Maybe you could say it's God. Maybe you can say it's intuition. I don't know. But I just know that there's a voice that guides me.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. With that voice, I feel like there are moments, this is my experience of it, where you can actually pinpoint when that voice is really guiding you, and like when it is like just things just shift. What's another moment in your life that voice popped up and just shifted your perspective or life?
On a daily basis. It's crazy. It pops up. It's on a daily basis of just permission to pursue whatever I want to pursue. And it's not even in the sense of like what people would consider productive. Like sometimes it's just like, just hang out for a little while. Just sit and do this. Yeah. And being able to establish that relationship with that part of me, being able to work through the achiever in me that always wanted to push, make things happen, and learning how to tap into more of my feminine place of flow and not just constant pounding and action and making happen, has allowed me to be more connected to that voice than I ever have been, because I've learned to play on the other side. Whereas in the pursuing the NFL, which I would say was more like, if you want to say like insecurity based, permission to give myself to feel okay through pursuing something at a high level, and then taking those skills that I learned and then working through the insecurity and now using that high performing energy to be able to pursue what I want separate from the insecurity. Yeah. That had always been strong, but learning to play in the feminine more passive space, even when everything inside of me is like push, has allowed me to actually settle more in the middle where I am pushing in that place when the inspiration's there, but I'm also passive when the inspiration's there, and both are equally powerful.
I love that. What's your relationship with your feminine energy right now in your life?
I think it's incredible. Yeah. That's like when you ask a question, it feels that way. And maybe you can ask another question about feminine energy, more about like what you're referring to when you say it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like what element of feminine energy?
Well, what do you define feminine energy as?
Just permission to pursue heart desire, not a mental construct of like, how do I do it? How do I make it happen? Which makes the most sense. Like, but more of this like, okay, there's this desire planted in me. It's okay just to go pursue it. And it's okay to not have to push to go pursue it, and to trust that it's going to come to me. So it's not passive in the sense of not doing anything, but when the inspiration's there that says just relax or move forward, there's not a lot of resistance, not a lot of mental energy there. So I would say the feminine is more like heart, masculine more head. And so I'm very connected to that place of heart and what I desire to pursue. And it's very clear. And there's not a lot of mental that's getting in the way of it.
Did you ever get to a place where you were ever at like a conflict with that like masculine and then feminine, or like heart and mind? Because sometimes for myself, I noticed that I was so feminine, and with you, I was definitely not. I was like, I must be extra masculine because I can't even trust feminine. And I got to that place where I trusted feminine, and then I just got really, really into it, and I noticed that I was starting to almost like not know how to integrate the masculine, or even despise the masculine energy, and had to like reintegrate it. So I'm curious if you ever had an experience like that where in your life you were kind of at bat or like just bumping heads with masculine and feminine energy.
Yeah, I would say like every day, like it comes up.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. Like just because it's clear and apparent what I desire to do doesn't mean old programming of society, of family dynamics don't kick in. You know, I'm a...
You're not perfect.
No. But I'm a very sensitive person. I can also really show up and do whatever the fuck I need to do, and I have no problem with that. But to give some context into that, as a young kid, after every last day of school in elementary school, I would come home and cry to my mom and say I'm going to miss my friends, I'm going to miss my teachers. I've always just felt really deeply. I've always pondered like why people would be mean to other people, what would cause them to do that, like at a really young age. And my way of being able to express that softness, or actually the more masculine part of me, because I'm processing as it's coming out too. So this is really good. My football was a place where I could express that tough masculine edge. And so that's why I clung to it quite a bit, was because outside of that, I didn't know how to integrate that softness with my toughness as well. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, I think it definitely does. You said it like it's a consistent thing that's happening that you're unconsciously in a way just doing, but you're not perfect in the sense that it doesn't pop up, and just integrating it in the way that
and that battle happens every day, but it's just the ability to be able to pursue separate from that battle, and like commit to it separate from that battle, not identify with the battle, and just allow it to be there.
What's a recent battle you've had?
A recent
not
battle?
Like masculine feminine energy, like just like a recent personal battle that you've gone through.
Well, even I think about just like permission to get like this earring, you know, like judgment there, or permission to like just get a tattoo without there needing to be extra meaning behind it, right? Like those two big ones, like that have been most relevant for me come up.
Yeah.
Also, dating and going deep without it having to be the pursuit of marriage, right? Like that's another big one for me, is like being able to be okay and not be responsible for that other person and what they decide to do with how I want to live, but being able just to be okay with going deep and not overly looking out for the other person and letting them be their autonomous person and me pursuing what I want to pursue separate from that, not over considering them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 'cause that's how you used to be.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another big one with the dating part, just permission to do that, separate from having to be like responsible in it, and just can like be messy and can not think about if this is like marriage or not right away. Yeah, those three probably relevant ones for me.
Nice. Thanks for sharing on that one. I feel like the relationship one is always a touchy thing, because a lot of people are like, it's got to end in marriage. And
especially with the Christian background. Absolutely. Yeah. It's got to be the pursuit of marriage. And you and I were talking about this a little bit earlier, of just like how people will even rush into marriage because it's like permission to engage in sex, or permission to be sexual. Not everybody, but that pressure can definitely come from Christianity, and you end up jumping into something not because it's what you really desire, what you want, but because it satisfies that, I just don't want to say egoic part of yourself that needs that to happen to give yourself permission to do other things.
What's one of the most liberating realizations you've had about just who you are as a person right now in life?
That I'm infinite, like just infinite, and I continue to do what I want, separate from ideas of what I think will happen if I do something. And that's where like I talk about the idea of like being overly responsible in an intimate relationship, where it's okay, is this marriage or is this not? And just the permission to just like, reputation has always been something that I've really held highly. Like how people see me, I've always used as something that makes me feel really good. And so, for example, in my business, in my personal relationships, I consciously make a practice of like shattering that, of actually doing things that I think would cause there to be a negative reaction, to go into it and actually create that negative reaction, which ends up not being a negative reaction. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like creating your own triggers.
Exactly. It's like, oh, there's my trigger. Oh, I'm scared of this happening. Okay, well, let me actually do it. Let me actually touch that button and say that to this person, right? Like I'm feeling this and I want to say this to this person, and I know I probably shouldn't say it's not the best for my reputation, but I'm actually going to do it anyway. And so I consciously go and I shatter those parts of me that are those limiting beliefs of that I have to show up in this way to get this result.
Is it usually always that? Like whenever you're, it's like, because you mentioned earlier, it's like a game for you. Is it always rooted in this overly responsible, or like not wanting to be perceived as something that would be labeled as wrong or bad or mean? Is it always rooted in that part of you that used to be overly responsible when you're looking for what to do? That's
a lot of the times it is, because that's a centerpiece of my programming. So a lot of it is. Even like, for example, I when I was really going into this with my business about like 3 years ago, I went to the beach one day and I was wearing my Speedo and wearing a tank, and then I got on my scooter, went back home, and I had a sales call with somebody. And I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I had a lot longer hair at the time. I'm like, I should probably get in the shower and get my hair done and put something nicer on. But I was just like, nah, fuck it. I'm just going to go like this, in Speedo, in tank, in hair, like weird, like Johnny Bravo kind of, but not nearly as crisp as Johnny's hair type of hair. That's like, what the heck is that? I just got on the call and I was like, fuck it, here we go. So some of it's societal too, right? It's not all just like from just my upbringing, but just things that we're told that we have to do to get this result. I like to shatter. Like, don't tell me I have to do something a certain way to get a certain result. I'm going to go in, I'm going to do it a different way, and I'm going to get a result that I want, like
what's
to challenge
what's your relationship with like rules then? Do you feel like
rules?
Yeah, like if there is a rule set in place or an expectation, like is it always just there's a store sign that says you can't be without shoes here, and you're just like, I'm just gonna take my shoes off? Is it like what when there is this structure and like there are rules and there's something that you have to follow, do you feel like you can still respect that? Or is it always like the quote rebel going about it?
No, it's interesting because it's not consistent. It's like that voice that I was talking about. It's not like all rules, like, oh, no shoes, no shirt, no service. It's like, okay, well, I'll wear a shirt, I'll wear shoes. Like, okay. But sometimes I won't, you know? And so like, I don't know. I can't like pinpoint exactly when it is. Sometimes like even with masks, sometimes I'm like, okay, well, I just kind of in a relaxed mood where I don't want to just like deal with anything. So let me just put a mask on. Or I'm not. I'm like, I don't want to wear a mask right now, and I won't. You know, so it's like it's not consistent. It's not consistent. It's just momentary inspiration that just like says yes or no, and I'm like, okay, do I want to follow this? Do I not?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't. Okay, I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, I do. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way of being. How do you feel people see you now?
I've heard some things. I've heard scammer. Like I've heard
I
look like
God.
Yeah, because like I post because I'm a great looking guy. You know, I look fucking great. Like just being real. And I post pictures like in exotic locations, and I don't share a lot of my depth on Instagram anymore. But if you looked into my posts, like you'd see more of it. And people are like, he looks like a guy that would be I've heard this a sugar baby.
You do.
Yeah.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, I fucking make all my own money. Like, I do everything. Like, I've built some cool shit with my life, and I like to show it, you know? And I actually take a lot of pride in that. And I could talk about that a little more too.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too much pride of building something for myself at times, but yeah, so I've heard scammer, like, oh, he's just going to take your money. But I'm like, yo, I fucking got way more money than you probably, you know? Like, so no, I don't want your money. Gay, I've heard gay too. You know, I'm earring. I post a bunch of pictures of my underwear and Speedos. Like, I think it's kind of justified, you know? Not to say that's wrong, but I can see why people would think the things they do. But I've noticed that, like, what I represent triggers insecurities in people, and whatever their judgment that gets thrown onto me is actually judgment from themselves. Yeah. So I would say anybody that is or has judged me or where they think that I'm at, like, use that for yourself. And I do the same thing. I have judgments that I have towards other people, and I'm like, oh shit, what is it? Oh, he's actually just like crushing it at a really high level. Like, ooh, wow, I have a little bit of insecurity towards that. And then what I do is, this is what I attribute a lot of my success to, is my ability to separate from that and actually say, okay, well, what am I really feeling in me? Okay, I actually have a desire to be able to embody this more that this person has. Well, let me learn that from this person. Let me not just condemn them and brush them to the side and just let myself sit in that proud moment, but let me actually like learn from this person the way that I want to. Yeah.
So something I've noticed is just that I didn't really see before is how much you've really integrated the masculine and feminine in your life, and how before it was pretty separate, but now you're allowing them to just co-mingle beautifully. And I really appreciate just that you still have, in all of your feminine energy and embodiment, you still have that masculine also there. And you're not afraid of things like performing or achieving, and also not afraid of money, which is a really big one, because usually it's like, I'm so enlightened, I can't think about money, you know? Yeah. So what's your standpoint?
Yeah, like that, like I just don't resonate with that at all. Like, to me, money is such a spiritual thing. It is. And I don't have like a normal definition of spirituality. Like, pursuing one's greatest desires and being able to consistently follow that, I believe, is like one of the highest levels of spirituality. And our relationship with money exemplifies our relationship with ourselves in a lot of ways. Love and money are two big things, the most like controversial things, but they show us a lot about ourselves. And so for me, money gives me an opportunity to find different levels of insecurity that I have. And so it's part of the game for me of going deeper and deeper into the money game so I can go deeper and deeper insecurities that I might have. And so what got you the first 50K isn't going to be the thing that gets you out of survival, isn't going to be the same energy that you're playing in to build. And then to be able to build on top of the effort, that's a different energy too. So it's these different energies that you have to embody in different levels of receiving money that to me is exciting and fun to be able to see what it brings up in me. And it's like, what would be fun about going and living in like a cave because I'm so enlightened? Like that just sucks to me. Like I want to play this. I want to find love. I want to experience love. I want to accumulate wealth. I want to push my boundaries. I want to like wreak some havoc. Like I love just like, I've always, my friends in high school used to call me the instigator because I would just like push buttons and like, let's see what happens when I do this. And so I want to live a life of excitement and fun in that way and pursuing whatever I want to pursue and raise some hell and bring some love and whatever it is. And so this human experience is too exciting for me to just exit that game.
Well, a thought that like comes up in my mind to like bring up what maybe some people would say, it's like, how do you actually, it's as if you're just playing with fire, you know, like how do you just trust yourself in that midst of like, I'm gonna go for this, like what if you one day like just cave in and you're like, now my insecurity really is money. Like how do you just do that without fearing what could possibly happen?
It's a good question. The fire's not that hot. Yeah, I think that's it. The fire's not that hot. So if I do, then okay. Yeah, if I do get to a point where money is that thing, then okay.
Where do you think that confidence comes in? Or that knowing that the fire isn't that hot?
Practice. Practice of touching the fire, building up that callus. And a lot of people use the example of like with a kid going to burning it. Sometimes you got to do something to see, okay, I don't want to do that, or that doesn't benefit me. And you got to put your hand on the stovetop to let it burn. But what I found is that if you put your hand on long enough and you sit on that tension long enough of sitting in your insecurity and pushing past it, you build calluses and the fire's not that hot. But most people they don't want to sit in the pain of the fire because it fucking hurts. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But once you build the callus up, then it's not that bad.
Man, so you're pretty callous.
My resistance to pain is incredible. I have incredible resistance to pain. Yeah, I can feel and experience pain and continue to push past it and do it and get what I want. What's
been the most challenging thing that's really like that resistance to pain almost wanted to not be as tolerant, if that makes sense?
Can you ask that again?
So, what in your life has been something that wasn't, you actually experienced putting your hand on the fire and wanted to pull back because of what happened? Maybe you go back towards it and then that callus like is created. But what in your life has been a moment where you actually pulled back?
Yeah, and that's another, and that's I would say part of the next level of it, because it's like I said, there's different energies and different levels in the pursuit of different things. And so for the first level, it's being able to be okay with putting your hand on the fire and building that callus. But after you get that and you become okay with the fire, then it becomes, okay, now which fire do I actually really want to tolerate? I think that's a big part of the beginning process of becoming successful in whatever you're doing, is like burning the shit out of your hand and trial and error and like just like continually burning. But then after you get to that point in success where, okay, I have some stability, it's now I have this ability to choose what direction I want to go. You have more freedom, you have more flexibility, you have more leverage. And then it's at a point where it's like, okay, this fire's hot, but which fire to me is going to be the most ideal for the s'mores that I want to make?
Right.
Or the hot dog that I want to burn over the fire. Right? Like which fire is going to give me the most feel good with it? All of them are going to be hot, but now I get to choose which one I want to pursue.
Yeah. Which top 3 fires you have going then?
Ooh, being the best coach in the world. Like that's it, and all of, like the pain that comes with that. Being ridiculously rich while doing that, and breaking. Third one is breaking the mold of what a enlightened leader is, shattering that reputation.
I think you do all three well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all really awesome.
So yeah, those are the fires. Like I said, they all come with the hotness.
Yeah.
It's like I get burned, yeah. But they're the ones that I want to.
Which fire has brought on the most like scrutiny?
Scrutiny in regard to like myself or from other people?
From other people.
Oof. It's interesting because like I don't pay that much attention.
I know, but for this question,
yeah, yeah, because I think people say things, but then, yeah, well, it depends on who the other, because like I get scrutiny from my family, I get scrutiny from friends, I get scrutiny from people that don't even know me, so I think it's all different. Yeah.
When it comes to being the best coach and greatest coach in the world, how do you work with anybody like saying you're freaking conceited and cocky and this guy is arrogant?
Yeah.
Or just that energy towards you. Like, just like, what? Well,
for the first time in my life, it feels good just to say, yeah.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah. You're right. I do. I'm really fucking confident. That feels good just to be able to say. Yeah. And I represent, for me, what I do is I represent people that are the sensitive, that are the people that have always really cared about the feelings of other people and put other people's feelings above our own. And I represent someone that can get through that and come out on the other side of it. And I can actually be in this energy of, yes, I am the fucking best. Like, I know I am. And you can receive the most in that interaction with me through me embodying that. That's one thing I've learned is like, me and all my greatness doesn't dull somebody else's. It actually enhances it.
Yeah. Which is a really hard thing for a lot of people.
It's hard to embody. It's a very familiar concept, right? Like, your light doesn't put other people's out or whatever it is. Like, but it's another to embody it. Yeah, you're right.
Do you feel like you've aced that embodiment of it?
I feel like I've aced it.
Whatever that would look like for you.
It's interesting because there's two answers to that come up in me. The first one is fuck yes. And the other one is yes, and I still can do it even more. And I also think that's something that I attribute to a lot of my success is the ability to say, yes, I am, and still be open to improving. Like I could say I'm the best coach in the world. And then I could choose to close off and not actively become better, or I could still pursue knowledge, information, and experiences that allow me to be better. Right? And I chose the latter. So I can say I'm the best and I continue to get better. And I think that's something that's really been a powerful tool for me is that I can say I'm the best and I can still be okay with like saying, yeah, I can improve still.
Yeah. Where else is that tool is being used in your life? I don't know if it's like humility or if it's just being the student and the teacher or if it's...
Yeah, well, I do my best to bring it into every element of saying that I'm the best at all of it and then attracting what I need to attract to actually become that. Right? So I might not technically on paper be that right now in this moment based off external success. I might not be the richest coach in the world, or I might not be the one that shatters the entire reputation of coaching. But I can embody the energy of I am and still improve. Like, I think that's it. You don't have to be overly humble to still improve. And actually being like excessive, because it's damaging. Because what you're doing is when a very like in tune with other people's emotions, what they do is they actually become liars. So in an attempt to not be a narcissist or not be conceited, you become a liar. Because you actually are very good at this. You are really good at something. And when you say you're not, or hide behind just like humility, what you're actually doing is you're just telling yourself, you're saying, oh, well, I'm actually not. And so what it does is from a health standpoint and an ego standpoint in relation to your relationship with yourself, you start to deteriorate. And a lot of people don't understand that element of it. when you have represent false humility, it actually can be unhealthy for you if you're lying. So you can either continue to get better and own your greatness, or you can be a liar.
Wow. When did you actually own your greatness? Of
When
being
did I actually own my
with the
greatness?
coach one.
Ooh. Maybe like saying I'm the best coach in the world?
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago?
2 years ago. What was that like situation?
Uncomfortable as shit. Yeah, super
What
uncomfortable.
happened?
Like being able to say it, like I was like, ugh.
Like what actually, like, paint the scene. Like what happened? Events.
There would just be moments that I had the opportunity to say it. Right, I'm somebody that has always been a leader by example. I was a 2-year captain of a Division I college football team, and what I believed what made me such a great leader was that I led by example, not by saying you need to do this, you need to do that, but by being the example. And a great leader has the ability to do both, and that's an area that I've really done my best at working on, is being able to be the example, which I already am. I live as an example. My life is an exemplification of that. But being able to then communicate that and say it, and to be okay with saying it. Like, hey, I did this and you need to do this. Like, this is what you need to do. And so being able to practice that and get better at it has paid incredible dividends for the people around me and for my own life. So learning to be able to get okay with saying I'm the best and that you need to listen to me because I fucking know, because I do. Actually, I'd be a liar if I said I didn't. Has been uncomfortable, but has become more and more comfortable with time.
How rewarding is it?
Well, it's like I drop a rock in a pool of water, and I hope to not get splashed. Right? It's like, well, if I drop this rock in the water, I can't get splashed. And my perception is that if I get splashed, I might die. Right? It's like, oh, I can't say this thing because that means this about me, or I can't, oh, it means I'm cocky, or it means I'm this, so I won't say this. And that's the same thing. It's synonymous with the water hitting me if I drop this rock. And so when I drop the rock, what I've discovered now is that there's no splash. And there's no splash. There's no repercussion. And if there is a backlash, it's not, I just don't even give a fuck. That's the funny part, is actually this thing that I was so afraid of, I actually really didn't care. That was the most fascinating part about it to me. I was like, okay, I can't get splashed, so let me not drop this rock. But then I'm like, oh, let me start to drop the rock. And there wasn't really a splash.
Nice. Yeah.
Or I did get splashed. I'm like, oh, cool. This is fun. Let's keep getting wet. Yeah, let's go. And that's what I'm turning into, is like now there is some repercussion. There is some backlash for the way that I'm being. Like there has to be. But now there is a splash. And it actually kind of fuels me. It's fun. Like that's where that part of me that likes pushing the buttons, I kind of don't mind. I like it. It's kind of fun getting that backlash a little bit now.
Yeah. What other like aspect of who you are, like part of you, have you just really developed in this way that as much as this is being developed? So the whole attitude and embodiment of just, you don't care, it's not as horrible as it may seem, and just doing it anyways for you. What other parts of yourself have you also just dedicated time to helping in that way?
Yeah, closing myself off. I'm a very by nature open, caring, loving person, and like connection for me is the easiest thing in the world. Like I saw with like COVID, everybody struggling with like connection and being able to have it and find it and can't find people that connect with. Like that's one of the easiest things I've ever been able to do, is maintain and find connection with people. I can go deep like this and always have been able to. And at times I've done it in ways where it hasn't benefited me, and I've left myself out. And I've done it. I've helped other people in an emotional way at the expense of myself. And now I'm getting into a place where I'm not the savior. I'm not Savior Coach Keyen. And I choose and I decide who I want to put my energy into based off of if I feel like I'm going to adequately receive from that situation. And so some people might listen to that and be like, oh, well, that's wrong or that's bad. But it's like, yo, I come from the other camp. I have gave everything. I have like over gave to people, and it's not fulfilling. It leads to emptiness. It leads to like, oh, what about me? And honestly, I think you have to earn the right to be able to give at a certain capacity, right? You have to like fill yourself up so much that you, as a byproduct, you pour over and you give. So for me, it's being able to close off. I even had this practice of, I used to say hi to everybody on the sidewalk. I'm walking and say, hey, how you doing? I made an intentional practice saying, no, I'm not going to. No, I can't. When I first started that, it was crazy. It was like I was an addict.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, hi, no. And what that did was it allowed me to go inward with myself and establish who I really am, separate from who I am relative to other people. And now I'm starting to reintegrate it, which is fun to notice. Like I'm feeling more inspired to like have those conversations because I have so much more solidarity in me. Mm-hmm. But because I'd always been so connecting with everybody and so like, yes, hi, yes, love, like here, take this love. Like there wasn't a lot of solidarity in myself.
So it wasn't that was bad. It was just that the foundation.
Exactly. And it's a conversation we had earlier. It's not the actions, right? Saying hi to people is not inherently bad. Absolutely. It's the energy behind the action. And so for me, I had to spend time away from it. I had to go live by myself. I had to move to a foreign country to like really just like get to know me more at a deep level, separate from who I was compared to you or compared to you or compared to you. And that's been one of the most powerful things. Me being able to see my greatness is that I actually use other people to not have to see my own greatness, which is really fascinating. You get what I mean by that or no?
Elaborate more on that.
Yeah. I would take on and use other people's problems as a way of trying to, and keep in mind, it's one of the first times I'm like really like saying this, so I'm processing it as it's coming out too.
Yeah. I don't mind.
I didn't have as many problems as other people had. And I'm actually and have always been really content with life. And taking on other people's problems has been a way of me being able to relate and keep myself relatable. So by separating from other people's problems, it's allowed me to become less relatable because I'm actually by nature, I don't think I'm that relatable. Like my ability to know the things I do and to do the things that I do, like I don't think everybody has, like I'm not going to sit here and say everybody has this ability to do what I've done. Because I really don't think that's true. I think certain people have different gifts and I can't do everything that other people have done. Right? But I'm not going to try to be like everybody else. And you shouldn't try to be like me. You should take things that I know to be true, but you have things only you can do. And I have certain superpowers that people don't. And that's okay. It's okay. And I don't have to, this is me talking to myself right now too when I'm saying that. But I don't have to use relatability and relating to other people's problems as a way to keep myself smaller.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I'm not here to be the savior.
Yeah, man. Oh, the savior.
Ugh.
It's horrific.
Yeah.
It's so stressful.
So much responsibility.
Yeah.
So much responsibility. And here's the thing. That's where I talk about like the idea of the rock dropping in the water. Like thinking that I had to be a savior for people. I don't think it actually enabled behavior. I think a little bit by taking on the responsibility for myself and not putting it onto them. And then I ended up like taking that shit on. And that's it. And that further adds the confusion of who I really am because I'm taking other people's shit on, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's just, it's not cool. And actually like by not being the savior, it's actually allowed me to, I think, help improve other people's lives at a greater capacity than I thought it was while I was being savior.
Wow,
yeah. Even if people in the moment don't see it. They might be upset or get a little triggered by what I say or what I do, but in the long run, that interaction that you had with me is going to lead to the greatest dividend for you, regardless of how you feel when it happens.
How do you feel the savior like aspect that you used to really, really have within you, and then also that part of you that was overly responsible and just made sure that everything was according to the perception that you wanted? How did they collide like together? Because I feel like they do intertwine.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, they intertwine. Absolutely. They went hand in hand. But here's the thing this comes up is like that savior, like that's the essence of who I am. Like as a byproduct of meeting me, your life is going to get better, and it's not going to be a certain way of acting toward you that's going to change that. And so instead of being the savior and pretending to be someone for somebody so they can feel a certain way, I've understood and continue to understand at greater levels that it's just my essence that creates that transformation. It's not things I'm saying or how I'm saying it to them. It's me in my energy. And so why not leave myself out of the equation? Right now that I know that like it's just me and who I am, that like improvement of you is the inevitable by interacting with me. Now let me live in a way that's not leaving myself out of the equation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What is your essence like?
Why you tell me?
Let's see. Keyen's essence is the most present person I've ever met in life. Literally. Like it, I'm just like, holy crap, this guy can just be in the moment. Like, it's awesome. Also, it's so soft, yet sharp. There's a lot of opposites in it that just blend with each other really well. And it's very relaxing, soothing, and opening. And it's like you're guiding someone to this down a road that as they keep walking, like just different like flowers and like just living things keep popping up. Like, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Damn. Receive that.
Yeah, that's how I feel it is. It's very like it's like very king like type of energy. But in the way that the king can literally go down and see like everybody else is the same, but he does not let his light not shine, and he still has his crown on, but he's able to go down with everyone else and be there for them without forcing himself to say, yeah, I relate to not having XYZ.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. Like some people it's just like, dude, like you're fucking like, and maybe I could do that more. I'm talking to myself probably a little bit, just like, I don't feel like I don't have that big like sob story of relatability. Mm-hmm. You know, like you can relate to me by just like hearing the words that I'm saying, not through me like forcing myself to try to be relatable to you.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people take that through this. Like, I'm not trying to be relatable to anybody.
Dude, your social media is not relatable.
Not at all. Not. I even said that on Facebook. I'm like, I'm not, and I made a long post, but it was like, and I'm not even that relatable. Like, yeah, I don't think that I am.
But then in that, just that ownership of I'm not relatable, you're so relatable.
That's it. And that's where people in the comments were like, I relate to this. Like, yes, I resonate with that. I'm like, great. Fuck yeah. But it's coming from a place of not through me pushing myself to be this way so you feel like you can relate to me, but by me just being, hey, this is who I am right now. Mm-hmm. Here it is. Yeah. And then I guess that can be relatable to people, which is fine.
Yeah. I think it's really beautiful. It's like acceptance on the level that it actually should be on for yourself, and then everyone else just benefits because you've accepted.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's nice. Last question. Oof. Let's see. What do I have in mind? If you like close your eyes and you just like maybe you like breathe and you're already relaxed, but just soothe yourself. What do you feel?
Period?
No.
Question mark?
No. I'm thinking still. I just let it flow. What's shining through you in your just everyday life? No matter what event, no matter what happens, no matter what your thoughts are, no matter what the relationship is like, love life, money, like what actually shines and penetrates through your entire being, no matter what?
I'm okay.
Nice. What's the power of that energy?
It's just that, like, I'll be okay. And that's not something that my emotions exemplify in every moment, but it's like joy versus happiness. It's like joy is more of a state of being, happiness more of a temporary experience. And for me, it's just like, I'm okay. It's soft, I'm okay. Now on the surface, it might be like, oh fuck, what am I doing right now? Oh geez, what's going on? Like, am I really doing this, Keyen? Is what you're really gonna do? There's that going on, but like, it's like, I'm okay, and that's what keeps me going.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah.
And this comes up too, is like on a plane when things start to get shaky, I literally like go to the worst case scenario and die. Like I literally like practice that. Like I'm on a plane and we literally in the moment where it's like everybody in the plane's like and I close my eyes. I'm like, plane crashes, dead. I literally die.
Yeah. And then what?
The sensations of nervousness go away.
That's cool.
And then pursuing whatever's next just shows up. Like actually getting okay with dying.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
So I'm okay because I'll let myself go die. Like, yeah, I'll die right now. Yeah, okay. And then the feelings go away. And okay, now I can pursue.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
What message do you want people who are listening to really take away from this experience of just you being vulnerable and open about your journey?
I don't really care. Like, yeah, I don't really care. Like, I'm doing this because it feels good and I'm excited to be here, but people can take whatever they want from it.
Nice.
Honestly, yeah. Like, it feels good to do and be good to share, and like I feel like I'm getting a lot from it. And because I'm choosing to do that, because it feels good to me and I feel like I'm receiving from this interaction, people will take whatever they want from it, and it's not really my business what they take.
Yeah. I love that.
Thank you.
You're great, Keyen.
Thank you, Autumn.